Here are 9 clever ways to use leftover coffee grounds in the garden. Before you throw away tomorrow morning's used coffee grounds, you need to know that you are tossing out a goldmine of pure nitrogen, essential trace minerals, and organic soil conditioners. However, if you just blindly dump wet coffee grounds directly around the base of your plants, you will suffocate the roots, breed toxic mold, and stunt your garden's growth. Here is your exact, step-by-step master blueprint to safely and cleverly use leftover coffee grounds to unlock explosive plant growth. Number 1. The acid-loving soil amendment. The most common myth in gardening is that all coffee grounds are highly acidic and will instantly lower your soil's pH. While fresh, unbrewed coffee grounds are indeed highly acidic, the brewing process actually leaches out almost all of that water-soluble acidity, leaving the spent grounds at a nearly neutral 6.5 to 6.8 pH. However, they still contain trace compounds that specific acid-loving plants absolutely crave. Blueberries, azaleas, hydrangeas, and rhododendrons thrive when spent coffee grounds are properly incorporated into their root zones. To do this safely, never create a thick, solid layer of grounds on top of the soil, as wet grounds dry out into an impenetrable, concrete-like crust that blocks water and air from reaching the roots. Instead, scratch exactly 1 cup of dry, spent grounds into the top 2 inches of soil around the drip line of each plant. Then, water the area deeply. This distributes the minerals evenly, allowing the plant to absorb a steady, safe release of nutrition without compacting the soil profile. Number 2. The direct nitrogen sheet compost recipe. If you want to feed your heavy-feeding leafy greens like spinach, kale, and cabbage without spending a fortune on commercial synthetic fertilizers, coffee grounds are an incredible organic alternative. Spent grounds contain roughly 2% pure nitrogen by volume. While that might sound low, it is an exceptionally safe, slow-release form of nitrogen that won't burn delicate plant roots like chemical alternatives can. Because the nitrogen in coffee grounds is bound up in complex organic matter, soil microbes must first break it down before your plants can actually drink it. To jumpstart this process, create a specialized sheet compost layer. Mix 1 part dry coffee grounds with 3 parts dry, shredded leaves, or straw. Spread this blended mixture in a thin, 1-inch layer across your vegetable beds, keeping it at least 2 inches away from the actual stems of your plants. Soil bacteria will rapidly colonize the grounds, transforming the raw nitrogen into highly bioavailable nitrates, just as your crops hit their midsummer growth spurt. Number 3. The earthworm attractor. Liquid drench. Earthworms are the ultimate natural rototillers of your garden, chewing through compacted dirt, aerating the root zone, and leaving behind nutrient-dense castings. Earthworms are biologically obsessed with coffee grounds. They are highly attracted to the unique volatile oils remaining in the spent bean fragments, and they will migrate from all over your yard to feed on them. To systematically draw thousands of earthworms directly into your garden beds, create a liquid attractor drench. Add 2 cups of spent coffee grounds into a 5-gallon watering can filled with rainwater. Let the mixture steep for exactly 24 hours to create a pale, amber-colored liquid. Stir the bucket thoroughly, then pour the entire solution directly over your garden soil. The liquid will carry the microscopic coffee particles deep into the soil pores, creating an underground feeding trail that local earthworms will follow directly to your plant's root systems within days. Number 4. The slugs and snail abrasive deterrent. Slugs and snails can decimate a beautiful hosta patch or a bed of young marigolds in a single evening, chewing massive holes through the foliage. These pests possess incredibly soft, mucus-covered underbellies, making them highly sensitive to the physical texture of the ground they crawl over. You can exploit this structural vulnerability using the physical properties of dry coffee grounds. When coffee beans are ground up, they break into millions of tiny, sharp, jagged particles. Dry out your spent coffee grounds completely by spreading them on a baking sheet in the sun. Once they feel like dry sand, create a continuous, defensive ring exactly 2 inches wide and 1 inch high, completely encircling your vulnerable plants. When a slug attempts to cross this perimeter, the dry, jagged grounds stick to their slimy skin, rapidly drawing out their moisture and causing intense physical irritation that forces them to turn back before touching your prized foliage. Number 5. The carbon to nitrogen compost catalyst. If your backyard compost pile is completely stalled out, sitting as a cold, stagnant heap of brown leaves and twigs that refuses to break down, you are facing a severe carbon to nitrogen imbalance. To activate the thermophilic, heat-loving bacteria required to turn waste into black gold, you need a massive injection of green, nitrogen-rich material to act as a metabolic catalyst. Coffee grounds are classified as a green composting material despite their dark brown color. Dump your weekly collection of spent grounds directly into the core of your compost pile. For every bucket of coffee grounds you add, mix in an equal volume of dry brown leaves or shredded cardboard to maintain a perfect 30-to-1 carbon to nitrogen ratio. Within 48 hours, the bacteria feeding on the coffee grounds will multiply exponentially, driving the internal temperature of your pile up to a blazing 140 degrees Fahrenheit, which rapidly cooks the pile down into rich compost. Number 6. The fungal pathogen suppressor, spray. Many gardeners are shocked to learn that coffee grounds possess powerful, natural antifungal properties. The natural compounds left inside the spent bean tissues are highly toxic to several devastating fungal pathogens, including Fusarium, Pythium, and Sclerotinia, the exact molds responsible for root rot, damping off disease, and powdery mildew. To build an organic antifungal foliar defense spray, add 1 cup of spent coffee grounds to 1 gallon of warm water and let it sit for 48 hours. Strain the liquid through a fine cheesecloth or paper coffee filter to remove every single solid particle, as any remaining grit will instantly clog your equipment. Pour the clear, tinted liquid into a pump sprayer and mist the leaves of your tomatoes, cucumbers, and squash once every 2 weeks. The microscopic compounds coat the leaf surface, creating a protective bioshield that stops airborne fungal spores from germinating on the foliage. Number 7. The seed germination spacing matrix. When planting microscopic seeds like carrots, radishes, and lettuce, it is incredibly difficult to space them evenly. Gardeners routinely end up dumping hundreds of seeds into a tiny space, resulting in overcrowded seedlings that choke each other out and require hours of tedious thinning later on. You can use dry coffee grounds as a brilliant visual spacing matrix. Mix your tiny seeds into a bowl containing 2 cups of completely dry, spent coffee grounds. The dark color and granular texture of the grounds provide a sharp, high-contrast visual aid against the light-colored seeds. Grab a pinch of the combined mixture and sow it along your garden furrow. The grounds naturally separate the seeds, ensuring they drop at perfect intervals. As a massive added bonus as the seeds germinate, the surrounding coffee grounds provide an immediate, localized microdose of nutrition to the emerging rootlets. Number 8. The root crops texture optimizer carrots, parsnips, and beets require exceptionally loose, friable soil to grow perfectly straight, uniform, and plump. If your garden soil contains heavy clay, the roots will hit a physical wall, causing them to split, twist, and deform into unmarketable shapes. Coffee grounds act as a phenomenal, long-term soil texturizer that permanently opens up tight clay structures. Before planting your next round of root crops, drop a 2-inch layer of spent coffee grounds directly over the planting bed. Use a garden fork to manually till the grounds down to a depth of 8 inches, blending them thoroughly into the clay matrix. The organic matter inside the grounds creates tiny pockets of aeration within the clay, preventing it from packing down dense after a heavy rain. This allows your root vegetables to push downward completely unhindered, resulting in perfectly straight harvests. Number 9. The hydrangea color manipulation blueprint. If you grow French hydrangeas, you likely know that their blossom color is completely dictated by the availability of aluminum ions inside the soil matrix. In highly alkaline soils, aluminum becomes locked up, forcing the flowers to bloom bright pink. In acidic soils with a pH below 5.5, aluminum dissolves freely, turning the exact same flowers a striking, deep sky blue. While spent coffee grounds are nearly neutral, they carry specific organic acids that temporarily bind to soil minerals, slightly lowering the localized rhizosphere pH right around the plant's feeder roots. To shift your pink hydrangeas to a vibrant blue, scratch 2 cups of spent coffee grounds into the soil around the base of the shrub every single month starting in early spring. Over time, this consistent organic input shifts the chemical balance of the root zone, maximizing aluminum uptake and setting the stage for a spectacular display of blue summer blooms. Hit that subscribe button right now to unlock the ultimate blueprints for a beautiful, high-yielding garden.